Hello, everyone. It's another episode of Tailgate Talk. We're your hosts. It's me, David, along with Nikki Two Step and Joey Mayo. Boys, South people.
Howdy.
So, this week we've got rumor mill across the board. We've got coaching changes. It's that time of year. We're starting to see some movement. Big news with Franklin recently disposed from Penn State. Now he found a new home at Virginia Tech. Why you would want to work when you can just get paid to do nothing, I don't know, but to each their own.
Well, I think
I think there was a clause in the contract that stated he had to look for work, otherwise he wasn't going to get like the full payout of some sort. I think. Not sure though.
plus like I know you're just joking, but like he is a competitor at heart. I don't think he would have done well just sitting on the sidelines. I think he needed it for to breathe. So if it were our shoes, I 100% agree. I'm taking my time. I'm collecting a check, doing nothing. But I think when you're at the level of James Franklin, and honestly, it's a great hire for both sides. I think his expectations at Virginia Tech should be what he's done at Penn State. Like probably 8 to 10 wins a year, compete for the ACC at least. Maybe not win it, but like
If they go if they go 10-2, like he used to do at Penn State at Virginia Tech, that school will throw
they'll build
the
a statue
largest
for him.
party known to man.
Yeah,
Like they haven't had this success since probably Frank Beamer,
since
and
the
that's
Tyrod Taylor days.
yeah, like that's a long time ago. And you're getting it. Okay, again, like I know we've been through this probably a bunch, whether I've been here or not, right? But James Franklin's career was okay. He'll win you all the games. He's just not going to win you games against Michigan and Ohio State, which not many people would have been doing the last few years, regardless. So if you're telling him he has to go to Virginia Tech and play maybe one top 25 team a year, prospectively next year, there's really not much in his way. He's got to get his guys in there, right? He's got to get his coaching staff set. But he's also won in the SEC. He's won in the Big Ten, and now he's going to go back to the ACC, where I think he initially started his coaching career as some sort of coordinator. The guy's been around this business a long time. And listen, it's not like I'm like thrilled about James Franklin, but you gotta give the guy his credit. Like he's a winner. He's a competitor. You said it before, and he's gonna change that program into what Penn State was. And on that note, and this is my like last thought because I'm hogging the mic right now, but Penn State's gonna turn around in 2, 3 years and be like, why did we fire that guy again? Because right now, Kurt Signetti extended, Mike Elko extended, Matt Rule, who was a terrible option but extended. Like all of these guys that you prospectively put at Penn State are now extended at their place where they're at right now, their current job. So Penn State's looking around and like, okay, well, guys, what are we doing here? And Penn State, yeah, it's like a very historical program with a lot of history and a lot of winning, but right now they're sitting there looking for a partner to dance with, and there's no one out there on the floor. So
Yeah, I agree, and I did fact check. He started, or he didn't start his career, but he was a coach at Maryland when they were in the ACC still. So he does have a little bit of experience coaching the ACC, and I think that was a really good point that you had with like where does Penn State go from here now? Because like you said, all these coaches in the Big Ten are getting extended. You got two, you could argue three massive SEC openings in LSU, Florida, and then if you want to throw Arkansas in there, you can. I feel like those are the jobs that people are gonna go for over Penn State. So it's interesting to see what Penn State does from here and who they can attract. Because I mean, at the beginning, I would have said they're probably going to get a Rule or
oh, they were the
a
best job. They were the
Signetti.
best job this cycle at the beginning, but then
That
Other jobs
unexpectedly.
fired their head coaches abruptly. And you know what? I want to clear something up. I said James Franklin lost to Michigan and Ohio State, and that's not fair. He went on a 3-game skid this year. I'll call a spade a spade. But with that being said, you guys pulled the plug faster than anybody I've ever seen in my years of watching college football to fire somebody that you're not going to find much better than.
And
The knock on Franklin's that he can't win the big game. And so
Yeah,
until he does that, that's going to continue to be the knock. So,
I mean,
uh,
listen, I'm not criticizing you guys, and you guys know this. I think Clemson is one of the better teams in the ACC, but the ACC is not like the world's strongest conference. Like I would say it's SEC right now, and then Big Ten, and this is like currently like today, and then maybe the Big 12 slash ACC. Like they're in there, but like
I think it's definitively the Big 12 right now, just with Texas Tech, Utah, BYU.
But that's what I'm saying. Like you're sending a guy who went 10-2 every year and lost to Michigan and Ohio State, and now he gets to go to the ACC where there's a down Clemson, right? You got a Georgia Tech who's on the rise, but like they have the reincarnation of Tim Tebow back there, and they don't know how to throw. They play football like it's 1916. You have Miami who can't seem to get over like they can't seem to get over that obstacle in the middle of their season. They recruit well, but they can't get over it. They trip over themselves every year. Like Bill Belichick is at a cheering competition over in Chapel Hill. Like you got all this stuff going on in the ACC, and you're telling me that James Franklin isn't going to succeed. I find that very difficult to believe. And I know you guys aren't arguing that. I'm just saying that for the people that do argue that, oh well, he's James Franklin. I don't see it.
The other big name to watch out
I
for.
don't know how much I saw a stat the other day. We were showing. I think I don't disagree that the SEC is a top conference. I think that people need to take off the rosy glasses at times because you've got cases here where the SEC is starting to beat up on itself, and they get the benefit of being the SEC means that it's a tougher win no matter what. When you look
Oh,
at
I
the
disagree.
metrics, you've got three lost teams in the SEC that are ranked right now compared to similar teams in like the ACC, and the records look better, like in terms of who they played and who they've won. For like, I think we're looking at like what Tennessee, Nebraska versus like Louisville. Like when you look at their resume, I think Louisville was on top in that case, but did not have the doesn't have a ranking next to them like Tennessee and Nebraska, or I don't even know if Nebraska does, but Tennessee I think does. It's just
Now,
I think personally the best conference right now is the Big Ten, but I do think that every single conference it's more so you've got two maybe three teams that are top dogs of that conference. Everyone else is more parity, and I think we need to stop lauding conferences when it's college football. Teams have down years. Programs have down years. I mean, look at Clemson this year. Look at Penn State this year. You look at Michigan last year, and it's a pendulum. Things go one way and then the other. I think that this continues to get to my point that I've had for years, which is that at the end of the day, you're not able to do apples to apples. It's apples and oranges and pears. And so you should just go ahead and set up the system to to reward you for winning your conference, and then you see what happens.
no, I agree, and completely and utterly agree with you. I'm just saying, like, from this year's standpoint and this committee's standpoint, and what the landscape looks like this year, I think is my argument. Um, but
Yeah, but
I do
again,
agree
like
with you.
even with that, you've got the bias built in that the SEC is just a tougher place to win in, which most years it is. But when the argument is that when you look at two different matchups, an ACC versus ACC and an SEC versus SEC, and the SEC, you've got an Alabama losing to some team with three losses as an example, and the narrative is, that's just how hard it is in the SEC. Anyone can win, and then when you get to the ACC, if Clemson does that, then Clemson is thrown off the rock. That's just how it's perceived. That's how the narratives are being written because that's who's writing the checks is the ESPN and all that. That's how all this works. It's all about that money game in terms of brand exposure and all that. It's not necessarily who puts the best product on the field. And I'm not going to argue that ACC is doing better product than SEC or Big Ten. You don't see it until they go against each other, and then most of the time you it gets extrapolated to the entire conference rather than like, hey, this team won on this day. Like, no one's talking anymore about Florida State beating Alabama. No one's talking about. I mean, you look at Clemson's had a down year, so do you discredit LSU? I think LSU's still got stuff going on, but like LSU has also had an up and down year, but they're still looked at as a tough a tough win
But
for other
LSU,
teams in the SEC.
and I'm
It
gonna,
goes,
I think this is a good segue, but I think LSU and Clemson are very different because LSU has been more down and has zero outlook on things right now, where you guys at least have like, all right, well, there's next year. Next year could be different. Dabo, whether it be Dabo or not Dabo, right? Clemson's going to rebound. We all feel like that. At least us three on this podcast feel like that. I think LSU has very little hope right now, considering like Lane Kiffin is his family was possibly there, and then they were possibly in Gainesville. I don't think he's going anywhere. I think this is all a coup, right? Where I think we hear about this mysterious deadline that he has to decide by, and I think he's ignored every deadline so far, like James Franklin going to Virginia Tech. I think he's going to wind up just staying there. I think this is all a ploy for the Egg Bowl week to fire up his team, fire up the media, which he loves to ringmaster per se, like he's in the circus. So I'm curious to see kind of what happens there, but I want to use that transition to segue us onto
well,
the
let me
Lane
put it this way.
Kiffin.
My point here, I want to just interject on that. Because I don't know if LSU was the right one. I'm looking at the college football playoff rankings right now. You've got Texas at 17. They were at 10 previously. And you look at who they've beaten, and it's nobody. Really, the only team that they have beaten that um, I would put any kind of stock in is that they beat Oklahoma. They lost to Ohio State. They lost to Florida, and Florida's had an up and down year.
Well,
They
Kirby Smart also took the perspective stick a fork in them approach into that Texas
Mhm.
game and was like, we are going to just
Yeah,
throttle them
but
into the
but
ground.
Texas is going to be looked at as a ranked win for a lot of these teams, and that's my point. Like you're gonna prop them up because they're gonna be seen like that, and then you look at a team like and then you look at the ACC and where their highest rank. It just I I don't know if
Here's the
I'm
thing
if
about
I'm
here's the thing. Last year we saw the same Texas team, albeit it was a different quarterback, but mostly the same team play the champion of the ACC, and the score looked decent at the end. But I mean, I don't think. I mean, you're a Clemson fan too. There was no point in that game where it felt like Clemson was going to win. You know, it we're getting too caught up in the hypotheticals here, and I do think that the the SEC does get propped up, but
Oh, it definitely does.
but there
well,
is
you look at it this way. Um, I hate Michigan, right? I hate Michigan. I do not like them. Their program is garbage. I don't like it. They're behind Texas right now, and Michigan has two losses. Texas has three. They both beat the same opponent in terms of Oklahoma. Like this is my point is that you're what how does that make sense here? How is it that I have three loss SEC teams ahead of two loss Michigan, a two loss Virginia, two loss Houston, two the teams that haven't lost as much, and you're propping up these teams. It's because they start up higher,
No,
and that's the
I
whole thing.
definitely
Well,
I
there's a
definitely
reason.
agree. I definitely agree. I'm just saying like when it comes to the ACC landscape, right? And this was my argument for James Franklin. I'm
I'm not even
not
talking
put
about the ACC though. I'm talking
right,
about the
but
Big Ten.
I'm saying for the ACC because I think this is how this started, right? But I'm saying for the ACC, my argument for James Franklin succeeding is that this year there was so much parity and there was so much uh, turbulence between teams that whether ranked or not ranked, I think that it provides a landscape of success once he gets settled there, which is why how I think this whole thing started. But I do agree with you. The SEC does get propped up every year. They start out with more top 25 teams than usually any other conference. And because of that, it's top 25 beating not top 25 and the top 25 winning and propping themselves up further. And it's the same thing every year. But
The only time that the rankings work well is when you're in a situation like basketball, where they have quad level of victories, where there's an actual metric behind it to determine, if you're away at a team that's, ranked at this point and it changes throughout the season, where the actual metrics work out to determine your placement. That's the only time that rankings actually mean diddly. Uh, it all comes back to my last point of like I think that at this point the rankings me are just points to talk about. It's what we're doing right now. It's what the talking heads on ESPN and Fox and all those different all that are going to talk about is, ranked win versus not ranked win and how to split those hairs. I All it does is is put the benefit squarely in the onus of the teams that have the more money and the bigger brand title. My whole point is, if you really wanted it to be a fair shake, if you wanted it to be the, you know, I think the fairest way to do it all would be your conference winners are the ones that go ahead and represent each team in the playoff. And then
yeah,
because you've got the Power Four, you've got the Group of Five, and then you've got um, you get independents, but you've got the Pac-12, which is out in its own little thing. So you look at that, and that's 10 conferences. That makes, teams that are on their own doing independent stuff like Notre Dame probably have to join a conference in order to do that. But maybe that's something that you take in your stride to say, look, win your conference, you get to represent your conference in the playoff, and may the best team win. Because if you can't win your conference, I don't think you deserve to win the national championship.
By that logic, both the national finalists last year don't make it,
That's
including the
fine.
national.
That's fine because
I don't think it
at
is
this
fine
point,
because
I'm going to take it.
Ohio State proved they were the best team in the country last year.
and
They
still are.
Yeah, they beat Oregon on the way. I forget
No,
they
no,
beat
they didn't.
Texas.
Hold on, let me interrupt you there because I think I know where you're going with this. They did not beat Oregon. They throttled Oregon.
They throttled Oregon in the Rose Bowl. Like Ohio State
Sure.
earned that national championship last year, and if
And
you
I don't disagree with that. That's the past, right? We're talking about at this point as we continue to go down this path.
no, but you're
We're
trying to
talking
say
of,
it's fair for only conference champions to get in. You're disregarding the fact that two teams that didn't win a conference last year made it to the national championship, and that was they proved in the playoff they were the two best teams because they took care of the business that was ahead of them. So you can say it's fair, but it's not right. I don't think it's right to only do conference champions because are you
well,
like would you really
here's
say that
here's
a
the
team
thing.
like
Nothing will be truly fair or right in this case because we have too many teams to actually do something like this. I mean, you're going to try and whittle it down to 12 teams out of 128. There's a reason that
the
you've got
FCS?
in the NFL playoffs that it's only 32 teams. And the NBA it's 30. Like when you do a playoff system, and you want to actually have it be a true playoff, you need to have qualifiers. You need to have something to say you've earned your spot. Otherwise, you just say screw it. We know you have the better guys, but you do, I don't care what you did in the regular season. You're still going to get your props in. That's my issue with it.
Then
Sure,
they
you may have the right guys at the end of the season, but why are we not caring enough to really let the regular season and winning your conference mean something?
So what they should do is the FCS has a great playoff format where the conference champions get in, and then there's some at-large teams as well. So that would mean in expanding the playoffs a little more, and in turn, it takes away some of the marquee regular season games. That's the middle ground here, where you get the conference champions to get in, and then you also let some of the other teams that maybe didn't win their conference but still deserve a spot, they get into. So it would if it means getting the compromise, then we sacrifice some of the marquee games in the regular season, then so be it. But if you're dead bent on having a team win their conference get in, including the group of five, you're going to need to expand.
I tend to agree with him there. I think 12 is not enough, but I was just about to say I don't think the way that we used to do it before I even became a fan with the BCS and a computer choosing was not great. And then obviously, like, four was great, but it was the same four teams every year, pretty much, give or take. I thought 12 was a good start, but I think there is eventually going to be 16 or 18 or what have you. And unfortunately, we're going to have to lose one of those games or two of those games. But I do tend to agree with him that right now we are in this sweet spot where you don't have to lose any regular season games. It doesn't extend the season tremendously. You still get your conference winners and you get um, your at large bids. And what you do with that in the playoffs is what you do with that. Now, is it a prime system that we're all running on that's perfect? Absolutely not. Right? Like you had a an easy route for Penn State, right? Because of the matchups that were able to go to the Final Four, if you will, right? And it's not a perfect system. It's not, but like you're gonna see this year, somebody's gonna have to like I think it was the winner of Notre Dame and Ole Miss is gonna have to play Ohio State in the second round. That's not fair either. But I mean, that's where we're at, right? So I don't know. I tend to agree with Nick on everything he just said. This is a long-winded point of what I guess I'm trying
We,
to
we
say.
we have we have spent our entire time talking about this, so we probably need to move on. We honestly, this is another one of those topics that we could spend the entire time talking about because I think there are points to both ends. I don't think that, and I think we're honing down on the fact that there's no perfect system still, and there never will be.
No, there
So
won't.
then it comes down to what do you want to do? And in my eyes, if you really wanted to make it whatever, then at some point, because of the way that money's working, you've got the Big Ten, the SEC, probably looking to do their own thing and say screw everybody else because they want to have all the spots. Then what do you do? How do you entice them from moving away from that? And we don't have leverage in the NCAA to do that. So I think that in a couple of years, it's not going to matter because we're going to no longer have this anyway. It's just going to be at SEC Big Ten, which truthfully is a better system to have their conference champions having their own one seed and then however many in the conference make the playoff and then they play each other and there it's going to be hard to dispute any one of those teams as a true national champion. They're just excluding other parts of college football, which I think is one of the things that we love is that anyone in any given Saturday can win a game. So with that, we're moving on, and we're gonna go ahead and jump into our picks. Nick expanding his lead. Uh, I
Bad week
I'm
last week
losing
for
a little
me.
bit. He had a really good week. Joe and I had the same week, so I didn't get any ground on anybody. But at least I'm in the triple digits now. So let's go. Let's jump into the picks.
Before we start these picks, I want to know that I sent them first. Um, I don't think any of us need to spend any time on this one. Ohio State is going to kill Rutgers.
Yeah, I always choose last. I don't look at the picks before I send them. I always look at them after to avoid bias. Give me Rutgers here.
Well, just wait till you see what David did.
Yeah. I had a fun time. So yeah, Rutgers gonna get smacked by Ohio State. I need points.
Did I say
Whatever.
Rutgers here? I mean Ohio State. I'm sorry. Give me Ohio
Um,
State.
so for this one, Arkansas without a head coach, I am shocked that David picked Arkansas over Texas here. As much
Texas
as
hate.
Texas is not what I thought they were going to be coming into the season, I still think they're going to easily handle a coachless Arkansas team.
I love the logos. For me, I'm gonna choose Texas A&M here, coming off a horrendous week against South Carolina. Uh, I think they bounce back. I think they beat them by 55 and a half.
Then Houston State is very bad.
Yeah, Sam Houston State is one of the top or the one of the bottom 10 teams in all of college football. So, give me Texas A&M here.
Against Nick here. I'm not gonna lie. I saw his picks. I copied them all, and I said I agree with this one. I agree with this one, and I don't agree with this one. I don't agree with that one. So that's how I picked them this week. I don't like Texas. I think that they are not as good as everyone advertises, and so I'm just picking. This is out of hate.
Um, you know what? Narduzzi said it doesn't matter if we lose to Notre Dame by 100. All that matters is these next two games, and it's either going to blow up in his face and they're going to lose out, or they're going to beat Georgia Tech, they're going to beat Miami, and they're going to get into the ACC title game. So I'm going to. Narduzzi is famous for this, so give me Pitt. I think this is when they start their little run into the ACC championship game.
For me, I'm taking another bottom five team and betting against them. Georgia, I think, took one hell of a shot on Texas last week. I think they do the same here against a bottomed out Charlotte 49ers team. And I love Charlotte. I love the logo. I love everything about them. Usually start my first franchise every year in college football with them. But give me the dogs here. I think Georgia's not going to keep it anywhere close.
Georgia looks real good. They turned the corner. They're back to
Yeah.
old Georgia.
Yeah, there's like real quick before David gets into it, I think there's like 5 or 6 teams that can realistically have a shot at winning the college football championship this year, and they are one of them. So,
Mhm.
You're looking nerds. Go Georgia Tech.
This one, NC State got throttled by Miami, but they're back at Carter Finley. The Pack are dangerous in Raleigh. Florida State did turn it around last week, but I just this screams NC State to me. So give me the Pack.
yeah, I hate this Oklahoma State team. Every time I watch them, my eyes bleed. So give me UCF here.
I refuse to root for the Knowles. Give me NC State. That's it. That's what we got. I have nothing else. That's
Is it
that's all.
Oregon State or is it Oklahoma State?
It's Oklahoma State.
I didn't even know who's picking.
I don't know. I picked whoever that team was to lose.
Attaboy. But that's all I got.
Yeah. I ran out of steam.
I had,
This conversation about the playoff, I think, is one where I have my strong opinion on it, and you two don't agree with me, and I refuse to give ground. So I'm just gonna keep arguing it the whole time.
Hey, wait,
listen, it's
hold
because
on,
Nick
really
and I know
quick.
ball.
Joe, who are the 6 teams you think could win?
As of right now, on 11/20/2025 at
I need it quick. I'm trying to
approximately,
make a point.
um, I think Notre Dame has a legitimate shot. Not no
Oh,
bias. I think Ohio State. I think
yes,
Georgia.
yes.
I think Who else? Who else? Georgia, Notre
Indiana,
Dame, Indiana,
Yes.
and
A&M,
no, A&M does not.
Bama.
Nope.
No.
Nope.
Trying
Oh,
to think.
Texas Tech.
So in so we said what Notre Dame. So my point being, if it was just strictly win your conference, two teams that we all agree can win, or okay, David doesn't agree that Notre Dame can win, but at least one team, being the loser of Indiana Ohio State, doesn't get a chance to play for it.
Who else is
They played
who
for it.
else
They
is in the
played for it
college
against
football
each other
bracket?
in the conference championship game,
Hold
Nick.
on. We
That's
have
my
we have
whole
5
point.
minutes.
You are so
Stand
caught
by.
up in there in an actual in a playoff thing. The conference champion is part of the championship is part of the playoff. It's a playing game. The whole season should be a playing game. That's my whole point. We used to have it where if you lost a single freaking game, you were out of it. And now we're at the point where we're talking about two, three loss teams winning it all.
Three
I don't
losses
want
should
that.
never.
I want to see excellence. This is a hard ass game. This is college football where your girlfriend breaks up with you one week
Ohio
and
State,
you're supposed to still
Indiana,
show up.
Georgia,
I want to
Texas
see
Tech,
I
Notre
want to
Dame.
see you be rewarded for excellence. I don't want mediocrity. Stop losing three games and expect a participation trophy.
Well, I will say if you lose 3 games and everyone else also loses 3 games, like I think that there's eventually gonna my I'm just playing
There are
devil's.
15 teams that have two wins or two losses or less in this.
I'm just
And
saying like
and you still have teams with three losses ahead of them.
I think there's gonna be a year where there's absolute chaos and there's eventually gonna be a 3 loss
Sure,
team that gets
it'll
in.
probably happen at some point, but until it does, my point would still work out because they would all balance each other out, and you would still have to win your conference.
I mean that would leave Notre Dame out, so
Notre Dame should join a freaking conference like everyone
they never
else.
will.
Also, last year's champion that lost 2 games by a combined 4 points wouldn't have gotten a chance.
Sure, but they lost. You're getting caught up on the fact that you got a team that got put in that didn't win their conference champion going on and winning it all. You all said that what Oregon got screwed over with their slot pickup.
Because they had to play Ohio
Um,
State,
yeah, like that's the thing.
who
They
was a
beat
better
Ohio
team
State.
than
They beat
anybody.
Ohio State. Now they have to do it again.
No,
And
because
it's
they
that's
were
the
a
whole
better.
thing. Like it's just you're
Winning their conference
you
got them to play
you're
Ohio
just
State
giving
rather than Boise
the
State,
good teams who had an
rather than a
off
group of
day.
five
You're giving
conference
them you're
champion.
giving the off choppy talk. You're giving the
You
good
talked for
teams
45
that
minutes. I
had
didn't
an
get to
off
talk at all.
day a backup a second chance rather than and you're punishing the teams that come up that pull off the upset. I want to see the upset go on and win it all.
We didn't see that because there's a reason. They're not as good.
I think that my whole point is that if you win the games in the regular season and in the conference championship, you earn that right. If you didn't do it then guess what? I don't really have a whole lot of sympathy for you. Win your freaking games.
Make it like college basketball then, or the FCS. Expand. That's what we're going to. That's what it needs to be. And we're just gonna have to be okay with it diluting the regular season a little bit.
I don't want that.
You
I want
can't have
my
it both
method.
ways.
I can't. I told you how I have it. If I have it my way, then I'm happy, and you
Well,
all
you're
can
not gonna be
go kick
happy.
rocks.
You don't get well. You can't always get what you want, buddy.
Sure,
Listen,
I
you're
can.
you're
I'm right.
fighting the establishment here, so good luck with that. I'll stick with the
I refuse
establishment
to
on this
bow down
side.
to the establishment. The establishment can kick rocks.
Oh,
Well, guess what? The establishment's gonna kick you in. You ain't got nothing on them.
yeah, the NCAA is going to take down
They're,
Why
Xavier
they're
more
gonna
Hawks.
people
they're gonna
listen to
put
me?
whatever they want on a spoon and shove it down your throat, and you're gonna take it like a good.
Whoa there.
The
I stopped
NCAA the
myself.
NCAA is coming for you, buddy.
Forgot we
The
were getting
NCAA has
recorded.
no teeth. I'm not scared of them. They're
Yeah,
not a
right.
governing body at this point. They're garbage.
Yeah, until men in
They
suits
they
with little
killed college football
NCAA
with how they
patches
handled the
show up
NIL
at
and
your
transfer
door.
portal, all that. I have no respect for the NCAA.
Yeah, until men in suits wearing NCAA handkerchiefs show up at your door.
Go
It's
Tigers.
fine. They they can show up. We'll see what happens. Go Tigers.
Oh boy. Go Irish.